The women bring nothing to the table. Men have been paying for the
Providers.
dates.
I'm sorry, but the worst person is a bitter, single person.
There are a lot of men, and actually a majority of men, who will go their entire life without a long-term partner.
In 2026, everything is more expensive. Time, attention, even peace of mind. The pressure is real, and nobody is immune to it. But here's what's confusing people. Some individuals seem to handle it better on their own than together. If the economy is getting harder for everyone, why do some people look more stable alone than in relationships? Stay with us till the end, because what's really going on here isn't obvious, and most people are misreading.
A grown-ass man has commented that he's proud to say that he has never approached a woman.
Okay, so what exactly is wrong with that?
I honestly was not expecting this. I seem to have collected all of the incels in my comment.
Because they've never voluntarily approached a woman, that automatically makes them an incel? I don't think they know what the definition of an incel actually is.
Guys, welcome, but this is not a safe space for you.
And I could say the very same thing.
784 people liked this comment. What the fuck is going on? Almost 800 men sat there, liked this, and said, yeah, same.
I keep telling a lot of those ladies out there that some men are simply not interested in dating. Yet somehow some of you find that really hard to believe.
As if this is something to be proud of.
Oh, I wonder how they're going to try to shame men for their choices today.
The male loneliness epidemic, honestly, is not bad enough. And you've only got yourself to blame for this.
What? How exactly does that make sense in context with that statement?
I made a video that went viral about respectfully approaching a woman on the street, as one does when you want to meet someone new. Got 100,000 views and thousands of incels in the comments.
As someone in The Princess Bride once said, you keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Some of the comments went like, I don't want to be arrested. How do you approach a woman that you're scared to be arrested? I think that's a you problem.
They're just listening to the thousands of women that have told men to leave them alone. So why would they approach?
Proudly never approached anyone. Yikes.
What's with the yikes? Another word that I don't think they know what it means. Because if a man chooses not to approach a woman, that means he's choosing not to be in a relationship with anyone, or even attempt to be. And yeah, that does not make them an incel. Try looking up the definition of words before using them.
The first shift is financial clarity. When someone lives alone, their decisions are simpler. Fewer variables, fewer negotiations, fewer unexpected costs. That simplicity creates a sense of control.
I'm sorry, but the worst person is a bitter, single person. The people that make you feel like garbage for having a boyfriend, the people that complain about National Boyfriend Day, National Girlfriend Day going on Instagram, and all I see are couples, it makes me sick. Unless your friend is in an abusive relationship, or you just know that their partner is evil, rotten to the core, you have zero business making them feel terrible about themselves simply because you are single and you don't like being single, even though you will not admit it, even though you will stand 10 toes down on, I'm so much better being single. I am such like a bad bitch. I don't need a boyfriend. Of course, there's levels to this. Like, if you're friends with a girl and she has a boyfriend and they're doing inappropriate things, you know, in inappropriate places, like at wrong times, you know what I mean? Like, there can be a talking to, you know, there can be a one-on-one conversation. If this relationship is abusive and you're genuinely concerned for your friend's physical health or mental health, you know, then there can totally be a conversation. But no need to be, like, sucking the joy out of their relationship. I'm so lucky to have the friends that I do now. Ever since I moved to New York, I met such amazing people who I have the most fun time with, even though I have a boyfriend. We still have so much fun together. We go out, whatever. And they love my relationship and they're fans and supporters of my relationship. And this year has been so refreshing for that reason. Because up until this year, I have been so hyper aware of how many inches me and my boyfriend are standing apart. Are we breathing each other's air? Because I do not want to get criticized for having a boyfriend and my boyfriend and I's interactions in front of other people. People in the past have made me feel so embarrassed. They've made me feel so embarrassed for having a boyfriend and so embarrassed to do normal boyfriend-girlfriend things, all because of their own insecurities, and they were single themselves until I met, you know, normal girls who are so much fun and are so kind and build me up instead of bring me down. Everyone wants to feel loved. Everyone wants to feel wanted. Like, that's just a fact. I think a lot of girls hate them because they ain't them. If these girls that were so upset about other girls having a boyfriend and posting them, they had their own, everything would be sunshine and rainbows for them. Anyway, some food for thought.
For a lot of single men, that control becomes stability. Budgeting is straightforward, priorities are clear, and there's less emotional or financial unpredictability to manage.
Men are screaming, crying, upset over the fact that women are coming forward recently in bulk and admitting, for some reason, I think we know why though, a lot of us haven't been attracted to men in a very long time, and it's honestly even concerning to us. And part of their cope in all of this that's going viral is apparently we're all just too medicated to find them attractive, right? We physically couldn't even if we wanted to, because as always, they're not the issue, right? They're never the problem. It couldn't be anything like their personality or the way they treat us. No, that would be too logical. So they're flooding everyone's comment sections with things like that to avoid any accountability for their whole manosphere nightmare that's going on. And I'm going to kick you to the curb as I burst your bubble and let you know, dude, there's nothing wrong with any of that, of course, but I'm not on it. In fact, due to the cost of healthcare, I'm not on anything these days. My joy is 100% homegrown, and you don't have anything to do with it. In fact, that's probably why I still somehow have so much of it at the end of the day in times like this. But as always, I'm going to take what is projection for 500, buddy.
That doesn't mean life is easy, it just means it's structured. And structure becomes valuable when everything else feels uncertain.
I am okay to finish my life being single. Being single.
Come on,
hey,
that's not going to happen.
I would rather die as a single man, having never gotten laid before, than wife up a lady who's absolutely contentious, who makes me want to sit in the corner of my roof, who makes me want to run out into the desert and die there.
Proverbs 21:19.
I would rather be single for the rest of my life, because that sounds so much better.
I think this is becoming more of a man's view in this day and time.
Agreed.
My son is 18, and I was like, you don't want to have a girlfriend? He's like, I don't want to invest time and money and everything in a girl that I don't want to marry that's been with all my friends.
I don't think people realize this is going to become extremely common, where men, like generally speaking, in their nature, don't really need other people with them. I mean, I can go to church. I have my boys at church. Like, that's my community. I don't need to have a wife. I definitely want one, but I don't need it. Whereas women in general, psychologically, sociologically, they need that partner. And when we find women who are single in their 50s and 60s, they're crushed.
At the same time, relationships today often come with higher expectations. More emotional availability, more time investment, more financial pressure. When the economy is tight, those expectations feel heavier.
Listen, some of y'all ladies gonna have to settle. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but
you know, being single at this age is not for the faint of heart. I have heard so many horror stories. I've gone through quite a few horror stories myself. Ew. Why is it so hard? Why is it so difficult to meet a man who's a good person and kind and loving and just a good person? It's kind of sad, honestly, and really gross.
So some people start asking a practical question: does this add stability or remove it? And if the answer isn't clear, hesitation follows.
There are a lot of men, and actually a majority of men, who will go their entire life without a long-term partner because they just want to live the single life, and that's amazing. But for some reason, a lot of you women cannot get it through your mind that that is honestly the best way to go. For you Karens in the comments, yes, it's fine to want a partner. I love having partners, but being alone is honestly elite. Being a mother that's alone, while it is extremely difficult, is the best thing ever. Because a lot of women are in relationships, or God forbid marriages, where their partner doesn't know where the kids' clothes are, doesn't know how to clean the house, doesn't know how to do laundry, is basically a useless human in that home, and puts all of those responsibilities on the wife or the partner, whatever. Now, some smart men have realized, I'm just going to use these women for fun. But when we, as women, do that, we're labeled hoes, whores, hags, we're gonna end up with cats. I've heard that one quite a bit. But when men do it, they're bachelors. But what men don't realize is sometimes us doing the same thing as you is called equality, bitch. So you guys want to use us, why can't we do the same thing? This thought process always boggles my mind because it is so difficult for a woman to get on the same page as a man. Like, we just want to have fun too. It's not always that deep. But God forbid you treat a man the same way that they treat you, they lose their goddamn mind. And I say all of this to say, enjoy being single. Do the same thing that a man would do. And I'm telling you, your life will be so much easier. I love you.
Another factor is adaptability. Many individuals have adjusted their lifestyles to match the economy. Smaller circles, fewer distractions, more focus on essentials.
All I hear is the men saying it's not worth it. The women bring nothing to the table. All I do is spend money. I mean, since the dawn of time, men have been paying for the dates, right? Why is this a new thing? Why are you upset about that bit?
A world where more and more men are single because women do not want to date them is a world that's very dangerous for women, which is why I worry about retaliation in reaction to the rise of single men. We actually have data from this year that shows young women are way less interested in dating than young men are. And we have data to show that more women than men are single because they simply cannot find someone they are interested in dating. 38% of single American women say the main reason they're not dating is they can't find someone that meets their expectations, compared to only 23% of men say the same thing. College-educated women are the group most likely to say they are single because they can't find someone that meets their expectation, 45%. And I can hear the men in my comments now saying, see, it's women's fault. They have too high of expectation and that's why everyone is single and lonely. But let me remind you that women have always entered into marriages with the expectation that it is going to materially improve their lives. We needed husbands for financial security. We needed them for bank accounts, for credit cards, to have a house to live in. And now women are doing better than men. We are more educated, we are stable on our own. And women who are independent and self-sustaining do not need to get married. When you don't financially need a husband or a partner, you can say, I'm not going to get a partner until I find one that's emotionally supportive, emotionally intelligent, doesn't need me to be his therapist and his mom, doesn't need me to do all the childcare, all the housework. And men will tell you, they do in my comments every single day, that these expectations are just simply too much. I fear for escalating retaliation that this will cause interpersonally between men and women, and also in legislative and policy decisions, like the push to get rid of no-fault divorce, in the rolling back of reproductive rights, and with things like student debt and college affordability. They're not going to make college more affordable when more women going to college results in higher expectations of the men that want to date us. So yeah, that's why I worry about retaliation of men who cannot make it worth it for women to want to date and marry them.
That adaptation can look like independence, but it's really about efficiency. Doing more with less, controlling what you can, and avoiding unnecessary complications.
Did you see the study that said 60% of women from 24 to 42 will end up childless and alone? No, I didn't see that study, but I'll do you one better. Now, I know by the tone of your comment that you are saying childless and alone is a bad thing. Well, not for women, it turns out. Women who are unmarried and childless are the happiest subgroup of the population as a whole, says happiness experts. Although tying the knot and having children are typically considered markers of success for our society, women who shun this pressure despite the stigma tend to be happier and healthier as a result. Long-established traditional symbols of success did not necessarily correlate with happiness levels. And this is because the happiness of men was prioritized and women were pushed into the boxes you needed us to fit in order to support your success and your happiness. But it turns out that wasn't really prioritizing our needs, was it? Part of the explanation for this happiness divide is because women tend to work harder in our relationships than men do, and this happens within the relationship and within the household. Women typically do more domestic labor and more emotional labor on top of that. Now, in contrast, when men get married, you typically make more money and you live longer. So it stands to reason when you try to shame women by telling us we're going to be childless and single, that's just projecting your greatest fears onto us, because that's the future that limits your potential. Where in contrast, for women, we're typically better off. And I gotta say, these tiny shifts in the power structure are extremely satisfying. And I know y'all are gonna fight tooth and nail to avoid evolving, but reality is gonna hit you whether you like it or not.
Meanwhile, others are still navigating older expectations in a new environment. That mismatch creates stress, because the system has changed but the assumptions haven't.
What no one really talks about is what happens when a woman keeps carrying everything while she's still in a relationship. I did it for 11 years with the kids' dad. All of the bills, all of the decisions, the emotional labour, holding the house together, myself and everyone else together. And I didn't just leave him because I stopped loving him. I left him because my brain stopped seeing him as a support. He became someone I had to manage, not lean on. And once that switch flips 11 years later, it's quiet. There's no argument, there's no dramatic ending. The attraction just fades. And then I told myself maybe it was just that relationship, so I tried again. Another 4 years with someone else. And slowly the same pattern, me fixing everything, me providing, me carrying and adjusting and being strong, till one day I just realised I don't want to be the strong one in the room anymore. Because when a woman has to solve everything alone for too long, it's like a nervous system stops feeling safe with that person. And once the safety goes, the desire follows. It's not bitterness, it's not biology, it's like self-protection. So if you're watching this, think, I feel single, even when you're not, trust that feeling. It's not that you're asking for too much, you're just asking the wrong person.
This is where perception splits. One side sees independence as freedom, the other sees it as isolation. But both are responding to the same pressure, just in different ways.
Why are the men so confused that we like being single? I just saw this TikTok from this guy named Kevin, and he's like, why do women promote singleness so much? And he says, when I'm in a relationship, I operate so much more effectively. Is that the mental and emotional labor that she was doing for you? Sounds like it. Is that the reason that she's no longer around? Possibly. But for the first time in history, right, men have to compete not just with other men, right, but also with a woman's alone time and with the life that she has created for herself. And they are not coping well with that. They don't seem to understand that we like being alone. We have hobbies, we have friends, we have interests. We're outperforming them in education. We don't need a relationship. We no longer need to have a man in our life in order to get something like a credit card, a bank account, own a house. We can do all of that stuff ourselves. So if a man is not adding to your life now, you don't need him. This was not the case 50 years ago. 50 years ago, a woman couldn't have a credit card. So, I mean, I love my partner and everything. Whenever I make these videos, men in the comments assume that I'm single for some reason. I'm not. I did love being single though. I will say that. Being single was awesome. My life now, also awesome. Why do they think we only hear about the male loneliness epidemic? Because women don't see singleness as loneliness. Because it's not. Make some friends, get a hobby. Learn to enjoy time with yourself. Being alone is awesome. What? Why are they so confused by this?
And the truth is, nobody is completely immune. Everyone is adjusting, recalibrating, and trying to find balance in a system that's constantly shifting.
So you guys just want to stay single, right?
True. A lot of gentlemen out there would honestly rather stay single.
Because why else would you stop approaching women in public entirely?
Other than the reason that a lot of women have told men to leave them alone, they don't want them in their lives and they don't need them. Quite frankly, a lot of women's personalities really aren't conducive to an actual conversation, let alone a relationship.
Because I feel like back in the day, like early 2000s, maybe the 90s, it was so common for men to walk up to women and, start a little conversation. Nowadays, that does not seem to happen anymore.
There's a lot of men out there have woken up and seen what some women out there are really like. So, frankly, most of them would rather stay single than risk being with some of the types of women that they see every day on social media.
So tell me, why is it that you guys would rather just die alone?
Because a lot of men have realized that it's not only easier, but it's much more peaceful being single. And not only that, but a lot of men have woken up to the fact that they have self-respect, and they don't need to be in a relationship to be considered a complete person.
The biggest takeaway isn't about one side doing better, it's about alignment. The closer your lifestyle matches reality, the more stable things feel.
Men are telling on themselves in droves, and it is honestly, it's kind of funny how they're gaslighting themselves. I just saw a video, I couldn't stitch it. He had stitched a woman who had said, like, why are so many men single? And she was actually, I've seen her whole video, and she was doing it as a rhetorical question. And he popped in, he's like, well, because we can do our own laundry, and we can cook for ourselves, and we can clean for ourselves, and so we're at peace because we can do this for ourselves. Sir, so you basically are saying that the only reason that you had a woman in your life was to caretake you. You didn't want to do anything in your life. You thought that having a partner to take care of you was the ultimate goal, and it had nothing to do with who they were as a person, as long as you got taken care of, so that you didn't have to cook, so that you didn't have to clean, so that you didn't have to do your own laundry. That was the ultimate goal. And now that you can do that for yourself, you're like, but now I choose peace. No, you're not choosing anything. You've been forced to figure out how to do life on your own. And now you're saying, well, I can do this by myself. What do I need a woman for? You're objectifying women. See, a relationship and a partnership shouldn't be what they can give you to make you, I don't know, be lazy, I guess. But to not be able to figure out that that is the sole reason that women are leaving. The sole reason is that men have objectified them and expect them to be their mommy or their caretaker. And they drain the women of everything. They don't reciprocate anything. They have no emotional intelligence, clearly, because they think that a woman is only there to cook and clean and do laundry. And then they turn around, they're like, well, I'm at peace now. I don't have to argue with someone. The only reason why somebody was arguing with you is because you thought that they were there to take care of you. And you had no anticipation to reciprocate it. How are men not getting this?
At the end of the day, this isn't about who's winning or losing. It's about who adapted faster to the new conditions, and how that adaptation is shaping modern relationships.
Men stopped playing by the rules, and now everyone's freaking out. Let's break down why silence has become the loudest move.